All right, guys, welcome back. And gals, if there's any watching. That'd be interesting. Anyway, there is the Post Vise. It has cooled. If you saw the Tractor Tetris video I posted this morning, this got kind of thrown in with there because it was a shop project, and I had to blow that bolt out of there with the torch yesterday. I thought it was a 7/8. Turns out that's a 1-inch bolt, folks. We got a little bit of cleanup to do to get her to go through there. I got a nice replacement. I've got lock nuts up to 3/4 inch, but I don't have any 1 inch or 7/8. So I'm gonna show you how to affect that here after a while. I decided that since we need to clean that bore up, we're going to talk about files a little bit. This is your basic rat tail, and I'm not going to get too excited about it right yet, but apparently there's just a little slag and whatnot in there keeping the we're getting it. It would work, but I just want it to go through and be nice. Anyway, we'll work on that here in a minute, but I wanted to touch on these various files. Maybe some of you aren't as familiar, and you can see I am in favor of handles, and these are good quality. I believe are they Nicholson's? I don't know, but they screw on. They got a tapered thread in there that matches the shank of the file, and they screw on. And this is just your basic, must be a 10-inch mill bastard. Pretty common. I've got bastards from 4 to, I don't know if the big ones are 14 or if they're bigger than that. Anybody that's watched this channel has seen me sharpen lawnmower blades with these. This is the biggest ones I have. I think that's a 14, but I'll just set you right there. Yep, 14. That's great for sharpening stuff. Okay, so the rat tail, and those also come in multiple sizes. Handy for cleaning up damage in a hole like that. That is a double cut, and they are a lifesaver in some circumstances. They cut a little faster than a mill bastard. And that is a Vixen. Looks a little bit like a wood rasp. Don't be intimidated by the coarse teeth. If you can get started, that thing will pull chips off of steel that will blow your mind. And I just thought of something. If I have one handy, I do. This is basically just another fine-tooth mill bastard file, but maybe you can see it's kind of in a flattened diamond shape. And that is actually a fish hook file. And that has been absolutely worn out sharpening fish hooks, as have a lot of others. So I've sharpened a lot of fish hooks in my day. Anyway, the reason I bring it up is that thin edge will get down in the V of a thread and clean up the damage better than an actual thread file is good if you've got it somewhere, like if you can get it in a lathe. But if you're in a tight spot, that fish hook file will save your life. So now that we've talked about that, I'm just going to clean this stuff up. I was going to time warp this, but I don't know, maybe it won't take that long. We'll just shoot it in real time. That's looking a lot better in there. I want this to work back and forth freely. They have this spring that, as you unwind the screw, it spreads the jaws, and just, you know, I kind of want it to work right. So I think that, yeah, that's going to need a little bit of attention. The bolt doesn't want to go through there. So I am going to set you up in time warp. I'll bring you back and we will work on these holes. Well, that didn't take very long. I'm kind of impressed with that. I noticed when I changed back to normal mode that there was a fuzzy piece of something right on the lens of the camera, so that will be interesting to see what our video quality is. We went back to regular mode. You guys. I got the, I mean, that's plenty good. We'll put a little oil on that baby. It'll be nice. But the important part here is, it's not like this thing's going to be operated at high speed or something, but it's a kind of a good teaching moment. There's probably people out there that aren't aware of this trick. I mean, it's nothing fancy, but it is effective. So right over here, we have the Post Vise's best friend, the little anvil. This is a really crappy one, but it only cost me about 20 bucks at auction. When was the last time you saw an anvil sell for 20 bucks? It don't happen. All right, so we need the proper hammer. And I'm going to say that for this job, the proper hammer is this 24-ounce ball peen. And we just lay our bolt on our anvil, and we only want to flatten the end of the threads. That's all we're doing. We're making it hard for the nut to go on so that it's hard for it to come off. And I could get the fishhook file and show you how to fix them, but that would defeat our purpose here. Maybe in a future video. So that really didn't affect our threads as much as you might think. So we're going to do it again. 90 degrees. And then if I would hit the bolt where I want to, I don't know. What does our nut do? Okay, that's about what we want. So, we're just going to quit with that operation. This tripod that I'm using is a little bit cumbersome for this process, but what are the odds? Wow, am I living right or what? 3/4 drive socket sitting right there on the fender of the 756. Just happened to be the right size. Now all we need is something to hold it with. we will use that. We just want to get it snug. I don't want to pinch here because then our jaw won't move like we want it to. At least that's my thinking. And trust me, folks, I've done some poor thinking in my time, but I like that. I think we got us something. Crap, I've been watching too much Rossi Oliver, man. So, now that we've accomplished that, we get our little oil can here. And we give her a good dose of oil. I might do that again just for the fun of it. This old vise ain't had any love for a long time. And it was here for a long time before it got any here. I'm sure I had this thing for 2 years. So, I think there's really nothing left to do but put it back together. And once we do that, then we've got to get it off of here, because you get that screw and handle in there and the spring. And this stuff holds the spring in. Let's see. I think it goes like that. Believe that, I don't know if you got probably out of the picture here. This goes on there, and then you've got a wedge that drives in there. Will you stay up like that? Can I trust you? This has got to be like that. And just see that stupid thing falling and breaking my hand. I really don't want to go to the hospital today too bad. I would guess that we're up to almost 6 inches of snow by now, so that's wonderful. That is how the spring goes in. But this stuff needs to go. This needs to come down. I'm going to have to get it out of the bench vise and turn it over, I think. Get my file demonstration lot out of the way. goes like that. And then this goes in there like that. I don't know if it matters which direction this goes in. Pretty good shot of my back. I am not, Jesus, this thing's heavy, gonna go crazy cranking on that. Give it about that much and quit. I assume that I'm going to have to adjust the height of this. I think you've got 3 or 4 inches of adjustability. I've mentioned this before. I'm not exactly sure. I've got a table that it would mount on. Maybe we ought to do that. We're not going to do it this winter, but I've got a big, heavy table my dad brought home from Parsons back in the middle 70s when they closed. I should get it in here and make a welding table out of it. I need to borrow because I'm not going to buy for one job, and maybe I can rent one somewhere. A mag drill. The plan, if I can get a mag drill, is to lay out a grid, probably 6-inch square, I suppose, and drill and tap 5/8 11 holes so that you can have clamps all over the place and you clamp stuff down and weld it. And I think this will probably work. I might have to make something for the base to set in, but I'm kind of liking that. Now, I should have showed you this earlier. This is the, that's the head of the bolt that I twisted off yesterday. Yeah. And I didn't even have Wheaties for breakfast. So, took this apart earlier, and I didn't know how far I was going to get on this project today. Going pretty good, so we're just going to stay with it. Really, this piece goes in like that, and it's a good thing we didn't get crazy tightening that wedge. We're going to have to drive it back out. First time I ever worked on a post vise. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm making it up as I go along. So we'll tighten her back up a little bit. Don't want it falling apart. I think basically we just need to roll it over. And Actually, the easy way to do this, well, now we've got it started. Put that in there. Oh, yeah. At some point in my life, I heard of the concept of working like a well-oiled machine. At some later point in my life, I figured out that there was a lot of logic to what they were saying there. A well-oiled machine is a great thing. And look at that. Now, if some of my favorite viewers would come over and help me get this stupid thing off the bench, we could get on with working on one of these tractors, or I'm not sure what we're gonna do today. It's a pretty low ambition day today. I'll take you out over to the window, and that's what it looks like outside today. And that does not do much for my ambition, so. But I will say, it's 55 degrees in here, and this place is full of red and orange tractors, so that does help, folks. Still need to find a meadow green one to keep them company, but anyway, I think that's going to wrap up Post Vise video. Thanks for watching.